Joining us now on AI Leadership Lab is Umesh Sachdev, who is the CEO of Uniphore. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be with you today, Ryan.
Excellent. Now, the Davos opener, we are here in the most elite forum in the world where CEOs are really searching for return on investment from their AI. Can you tell us what is the biggest reality check that C-suite leaders, whether they're here in Davos or around the world, need to be building into their AI plans in 2026?
We've all been talking to a lot of C-suite players. I certainly have a customer base of over 2,000. It's several C-suite leaders every year as I travel around the globe. And AI is a topic that I don't believe any CEO doesn't want to talk about anymore. But that said, the companies that have figured out how to use AI as a growth enabler are going to start to break out from their pack starting this year. And here's why I say that. There was a lot of pilot and trial and POC activity in 2025. There was a lot of novelty value in the latest LLM, the latest GPU. I think we're back to basics. What is the business outcome that AI drives? And customers tell me that they are less interested to have a conversation of which GPU, which LLM. They want to talk about business transformation. And they want to leave those technical choices to their partner, their vendor, say, go figure it out, but deliver the outcome to me. So the first thing that C-suite leaders must get aware of is this emerging business model of outcome as a service. So putting the outcome forefront of any AI conversation. Second, there is no one size fits all in AI. There might be use cases in your company that are best served by an open AI model, as an example. Yet some other use cases which might be best served by an open weights model. There might be use cases where a high-powered GPU might be needed. There might be use cases where a CPU is involved. If I have a use case which is automating my call center conversations, I probably require the AI assistant to respond back in less than a second, otherwise the customer experience suffers. So, okay, it's fair to use a high capacity GPU, reasonably sized model and pay the right amount. But if I'm using AI agents to automate tasks for my CFO, if it takes 3 minutes to respond, that's probably okay, which means I could run it at a lower capacity GPU with a smaller size model, and therefore optimizing the cost. So thinking about the cost, input cost, as it relates to the outcome that AI is driving. These are the things that some of the leaders in AI are beginning to figure out, and they will start to break out from their packs.
And how much do they need to be thinking about workflow and organizational design? They can't rely on you for that, but how much does that separate them from the pack, where they don't just buy what you're offering and then think the job is done, but they complete the work by thinking a bit harder and deeper about how to use your products?
I think that's a very good point that you bring up. Till last year, there was this entire effort to make the org structure shift in a way that it fits how AI agents are going to work. And by definition, we know AI agents, unlike software, which is very predictable, AI agents reason all the time. And they are not deterministic. They could take different paths to the same outcome over and over again. And because of that, as regulated companies and industries, we're trying to think very deeply about how do I change my business process to accommodate the behavior of the AI agent? How do I change my org design? What's different in 2026 is this thinking of AI agents have to work in the way our business runs its workflow. Only then it's adding value. The holy grail has been, how do we make these AI agents deterministic? Even though we want to benefit off their reasoning, their thinking ability, but if it's a task that I want to do repetitively 10,000 times a day, I want the same path to be followed.
You don't want them reinventing the wheel.
So I think we're beginning to see less of an anxiety of, let me think about changing my org design, changing my workflow. Versus let me bring in AI agents into existing business process and existing workflow.
Now, if we think about sort of your product roadmap,
what customers need is not so much a system integrator bringing them, here's the best GPU, here's the best compute, here's the best LLM, but a platform that encompasses everything around and delivers the enterprise-grade security, scalability in an open and sovereign manner. That's what the Uniphore Business AI Cloud is all about. Our platform runs multiple types of compute, multiple types of LLMs, and delivers what's most important to our clients, which is outcomes. Our platform is capable of running on cloud and on-prem. Platform is capable of being open in the sense of the client can decide that which technology components they want it to run on. And so how has our roadmap evolved in the last few months? We've constantly seen how our clients are evolving using the platform. And therefore, these shifts towards an open, composable architecture. Our clients do not want to be locked in to a single type of LLM, a single type of data compute. They want the flexibility to keep moving as new innovations occur. Secondarily, our clients, especially outside the US, because of geopolitical developments, are beginning to deeply think about sovereignty of AI. That, someday through an action by any government, God forbid, their access to AI should not be.
They have to preserve the access.
And therefore, having a sovereign architecture, which the Uniphore platform does, allows our clients that peace of mind that even though we are a Silicon Valley headquartered company, a US domiciled company, but wherever we do business, we are capable of doing AI architectures in a sovereign way. So those things have been shaped by just constantly listening to our customers in the last several months and what's top of mind for them.
And that's interesting. Like hearing you talk about it like that, it makes me realize, not that AI is not its own special topic, but it really is integrated now with every other topic in a horizontal way. So we don't have to obsess over the latest micro development with a model. You have to obsess over the security, the sovereignty, the flexibility. Very interesting. Like that's a big shift over the last 2 or 3 years.
That's right. The way I'll describe it is we're moving from novelty to back to basics.
Thinking about leadership, let's say, sort of the AI revolution is changing which companies are leaders, but I also imagine it also changes how you as a CEO lead.
Well, every technology shift causes the leaderboard to shake up. Internet was like this. SaaS and cloud did the same. AI is no different. The technology leaders on the SaaS revolution, Salesforce, ServiceNow, Workday, as good as those companies continue to do, there's going to be new leaders emerging in the AI revolution, and Uniphore is one of them. The one thing that's different in both my leadership style and also the CEOs that I serve and I talk to on a weekly basis is just this pace of innovation has shifted dramatically. Some of the playbooks of the past, which required people to do some research, come back in a few weeks with some analysis, and then maybe form a committee to make decisions, not just in my company, but even larger Fortune 500 companies that we serve, I'm seeing that being thrown out of the window. Any company that's not moving at the speed of AI, CEOs realize that their investors, their shareholders, Wall Street, will not treat them kindly. And the gap between the haves and the have-nots is already widening, and it's going to be so wide by the end of 26 that nobody would want to be in the have-nots category. And the only definition to stay in the haves category, to prove your customers, prove your investors, that you can move with agility, you can move super fast, make quick decisions, accept some failure, but then deliver fast outcomes with AI.
And then one of the other gaps that I think could emerge, let's imagine you're the CEO who does all the right things and does move at that right agile speed. But then you could fail by not bringing your workforce along. If people are not trusting the AI that they have to use in their jobs, have you got any tips on how a CEO can bring everyone along?
One of my mentors is John Chambers, who was the longstanding CEO of Cisco. And in his book, he talks about the role of the CEO. And it's very interesting. He says the role of the CEO is to set the vision for the company, bring in the talent as needed, define the culture of the company. But the final point on the role of the CEO is to communicate all of the above. Communication is such a big aspect of a CEO's job in general. But in times like these, when things are changing so fast, over-communicating with your team, constantly sharing how you see the goalposts are moving, and then trying to bring them along is such an important part of a CEO job. But equally, I have advice for people who work in these companies. It's their opportunity to also step up. It will take more than one leader to change the culture of a company.
I think that's right. One final question around sort of humans in the loop. As we move into an era where agents take on a greater role and agents are working with other agents, how do you view the ways that we can sort of keep humans in sustainable jobs and being valuable members of society, and making sure that humans are among the guardrails in whatever AI systems we develop and deploy.
So, I'm a firm believer. I'm in the camp that AI is going to be the growth engine for enterprises in 2026 and beyond. And how do we know the early signs of this? Let's look at the US GDP numbers that have started to come out. The US GDP is inching towards a 5% annual growth rate. Every sign tells me that we will see a 6% number. We haven't seen that kind of number in over 2 decades in the US. And it's not coincident. Watch the earnings of some of your favorite Fortune 500 companies through this year and brace for acceleration in their earnings result. Also no coincidence. Through the course of this year, it will be very clear and a strong correlation that some of this accelerated growth in economies, in large companies, is happening because of AI. It means that it's creating an era of abundance. It is true that headcount will not grow in the same linearity with revenue as it used to. But because the revenue growth is likely to be so strong, even the nonlinear head growth, I think, should be enough.
Just thinking in professional services, I think it's going to be very tough for some junior staff. But you look at something like legal, there has never been a moment in the world's history where there was enough legal supply to meet legal demand. And that can change with AI being involved in it. And it might mean that some partners at some firms don't get the fat checks they used to. And it might mean some junior lawyers don't have the normal pathway, but I don't think it means less lawyers.
There might be law of unintended consequences. We might be suing each other a lot more. But that apart, I'm completely in the camp that your opportunities are emerging every day because of AI. At an aggregate in the medium to long term, I'm not worried. Now, that said, I want to be authentic and say that in the near term, I do worry. That there is this phase of adjustment. There are several people in the job market who might have to reskill themselves and reskill themselves quickly. The fresh graduates who are coming out of their courses this year, next year, might at an entry level face a shortage of jobs, etc. So in the very near term, we are likely to see some job displacement and disruption. But in the medium to long term, it should even out is my guess.
And then those folks are going to have to spend some time at YouTube University and throwing themselves into AI to do some of the catch-up. Umesh, thank you so much for joining AI Leadership Lab.
Such a pleasure, Ryan. Thank you for having me.